You mentioned a great statement, which is that loss creates leaders.
Right.
Where did you come up with that? Is that something you've experienced in your life?
I've experienced a lot of loss. There was a period in my life where in 96, my world was shaken up and I lost my mother at the end of my sophomore year at the University of Georgia. Literally, my father and I had a huge falling out. And so here I am, literally separated from my family. Back to the thing about community. I'm really on my own and had to redevelop family. That's why I'm very close to the guys I went to college with because they became my family. I found myself in October with no home to go home to for Christmas, but I'm entrepreneurial as always. So I literally walked into a Norwest bank. I guess it became Wells Fargo eventually. And I asked the lady at the front desk, the receptionist, how many houses she had for sale. Didn't know what a mortgage was or a real estate agent or anything. But I knew if I bought a 4-bedroom house, I could rent out 3 bedrooms to my newly acquired frat brothers and that would cover the rent because I didn't even know what a mortgage was. That's a real story. So here I am young, I'm 18, I got a mortgage and a car note and a tuition bill and really trying to be the big man on campus and balancing this life. Grew me up really quickly, but the next 6 years of my life were torrential. From losing my mother, burying all my grandparents, my college sweetheart, a cousin that I lost to street violence. And to kind of do that on my own, to not really have a true sense of community. And then to have a spin where literally I didn't feel like I even had a home. Um, Loss creates leaders because literally the pain that you feel, the pain, I think those that will inherit the earth, those that will lead us going forward are those that can effectively manage pain. And especially if you're an entrepreneur or a small business owner. The things that will have other people running for the hills or jumping out of windows or just giving up, you have to have the ability to push through. And if you can't deal with pain, and I think the pain of loss is one of those things that toughens the skin, enlarges the heart, and gives you the wherewithal to say that, you know what, it's been a hell of a lot worse. I've seen worse. And for someone like me that's lost everything, what am I afraid of?
You said toughens the skin and enlarges the heart. A lot of
Yeah.
people would have said toughens the heart.
I think the heart gets bigger. I think if you lose the ability to love, you lose the ability to be significant. And so when I say it enlarges the heart, because literally I make more space to do more good rather than saying I want to keep all things out. But I think in a lot of cases, yes, that heart toughens, and that's when it becomes all about the success, all about me, all about the things that I can have and the things that I can get. But for those that have had very little, it's inherent. You can go one of two ways. Like you said, you could go down that road where the heart gets blocked off, or you can say, wow, I could do so much more for those who are look just like me not too long ago.
So when you look back, what are the 2 or 3 critical things that were your defining moments that could have sent
Mm,
you the wrong way?
wow, that's more than two or three. Uh, I think that when everything went away, um, when I had gotten down to those last dollars, when I was paying for a membership at the LA Fitness on La Vista Road, they had a $9.99 special because that's where I used to take showers. When you start to think about other ways to make money or other ways to shortcut things, um, how do you push through that if significance isn't your guide right? If you don't have like a spirituality to hold on to. I think, even when I don't know if I shared this with you in this story, but when I left my last job, I made my then girlfriend, who became my wife, a very deliberate promise that I'd never get another job again. That I knew that I wanted to return to being an entrepreneur. I knew that that was going to be my pathway to wealth. And even in taking the position that I'm in right now, I had to break that promise to her. And it took a lot of soul searching to say, yes, this is something that will outlast me. And there are very few times in life where you get to be a part of something that will outlast you. And there
It's
are
true.
even rarer moments where you get to be a part of something that could potentially change the course of history. And one of my personal sayings or mottos is plant seeds that will grow trees whose shade you may never sit under. Plant seeds that will grow trees whose shade you may never sit under. And that's been like my guiding light thus far. Like the things that I'm doing right now, my only motivation is for it to impact generations yet unborn. That came from a guy named Greg Clay, because one day he challenged me to be because people ask you all the time, when are you going to have kids and all this other stuff? And he said, I don't want you thinking about that. I want you to be a really dope great-grandfather. Think about that. Keep doing that. Start working to be a really dope great-grandfather. I said, what the hell does that mean? And so as he sat and he had me think about it a little bit, I got to think generationally. I got to think about the kid that I may never meet. And for the smile on his face when he speaks about his great-grandfather and the things that he or she are able to do because of my efforts now. Focusing on that kind of generational wealth thinking elevates the way that you look at things. And when you talk about the loss, I have the ability to have a fearlessness to really believe that I could do it. I'm not afraid of losing it all. And those things that distract us mostly, like, okay, I want this new car, this new suit, or these new clothes, they don't distract me. I've had them, I've lost them, they didn't make my life any better. So my North Star is different. It shines a little brighter because I'm not distracted by a lot of the things that others may be along their journey. And with the courageousness that comes from losing everything. Yeah. I guess that's it, yeah. Does that help? That work?
So just wrap it up with that. Just say thank you, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Sure.
Wow. Most people spend their whole life trying to avoid failure. And after listening to you, I think that one of the greatest gifts you had was to lose everything so that you could see clearly that these things are distractions. Most of us spend our whole life being distracted.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for sharing that. And hopefully you have undoubtedly, there are so many people listening to this that now have hope.
Sure.
Because they do feel down and out, and you can break through it. And in fact, that may be a gift that in hindsight you look back on. So thank you so much for your time. And thank you to everyone for listening to our Secret Weapons podcast.
All right.
And we look forward to seeing you next time.